before you become the person who earns $1 million, can you be like that person right now? Can you feel like the person? Can you think like the person? Most people, when you talk to them that what is your goal in terms of money, they'll have no goals. Nobody has even a figure in the mind very clear that what is that I want to earn in next 5 years' time. We all have a very strong self-image in our mind, right? About what can we do, what we can't do. Our worth, self-esteem, right? And whatever goals we set, these are in directly sync with the self-worth, self-image. This is where this thought from Thomas Edison comes in. He says, never go to sleep without putting a request to your subconscious mind. Ever happened with you? You are thinking about somebody, a person, a loved one, a friend, and a call comes. What is the logic for this? What is the basis for this? Everything happens twice in this world. First in the mind, second in reality. There's one thing which improves everything in your life. If you have this quality, you get more incentive, better job, better promotion, faster promotion, better relationship, better health, reach your goal faster, company's turnover increases, the profit multiplies with one quality. What is that?
Welcome back to another episode of the Inspiring Talk podcast. This episode is all about manifestation, law of attraction, and how do you accomplish any dreams and goals that you have. To help us understand the concepts of law of attraction, power of our subconscious mind, I have invited Avinash Anand Singh. Avinash has been a law of attraction coach for several years now. He has worked with hundreds of people through his programs to tap into their subconscious mind to accomplish any goals that they have. In this episode, we discuss law of attraction, visualization, and we go deep into the process of visualization. How do you actually visualize the dreams and goals that you want to accomplish in your life? How do you develop the abundance mindset so that you can attract anything that you want in your life? And also, we talk about the affirmations, power of affirmations, and so on and so forth. This episode is your masterclass on manifestation of your goals and dreams by tapping into this wild potential that each of our subconscious mind has. Let's get started. Welcome back inside another episode of the Inspiring Talk podcast. And today I'm very excited to have Avinash Anand Singh on my podcast. Avinash, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Bijay. A pleasure to be here. I've been watching your episodes and amazing insights in all episodes. So very excited to be here.
Same here, and I've been hearing a lot of good things about the work that you do, particularly teaching people on manifesting the things that they desire in life.
Right.
So let's start with understanding what is manifestation.
Absolutely. So this concept of manifestation became popular, especially in last 10-12 years, with the launch of this book called as Secret, Rhonda Byrne. Amazing book, very good start to read. And that's when the world kind of got to know about this part. But this concept has been a very integral part of our Indian wisdom. You know, if you look at the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda, Swami Shivananda, right, they have talked about this part. It's a very, very core idea of the spiritual wisdom, right? So manifestation in the simplest term is that you are not living a life where things happen and you just face it or you just react to it. But we are an active co-creator in the journey of life, you know. What is going to happen tomorrow, day after, these are not just destined. Most people believe that, right? Or completely out of my control. I have a say in how my life turns out to be. And when I consciously follow a process or do maybe a ritual or follow tools or techniques, I get to control and shape my life events. So when we do that part, we say, oh, I have manifested something. So manifestation is the outcome we are looking at, which can be in terms of money, relationship, perfect health, a business, of that sort, right? So it's the outcome what we kind of tend to achieve as a result. That's what manifestation in a simple way, simple terms means in a way.
The popular story of Jim Carrey, writing the check for himself of $10 million? $10
million.
$10 million and imagining that, hey,
right.
I get a movie deal, producers are running after me, and everybody wants to feature me, while he didn't have anything.
Nothing at all.
Right, and then the first movie he gets is of
The Dumb and Dumber, and that movie got him $10 million. But he also said in this show with Oprah that, when I was imagining every night in the evening, having that producers coming to me, he also said, I was not then going and eating sandwich. I was also doing the work, which means I was also knocking doors. And in that process, when I was imagining, visualizing, and going to people, eventually opportunity clicked. So a lot of people mistake that, that you have to only visualize and imagine and then do nothing, sit in your house and watch Netflix and things will happen automatically. No, you have to be also visible, be there where things connects to each other in a way, right? So yeah, Jim Carrey, I think one of the biggest, advocate about this concept. And then like Sylvester Stallone, Muhammad Ali has been, Bruce Lee has talked about this a lot, right? And many great teachers. In India, we have people like Ranbir Singh, we have people like Sachin Tendulkar. He talked about subconscious mind a lot, that how he programmed.
Did Ranbir Singh also talk about this?
Absolutely. There's a show with Simi Garewal on YouTube. If you go and find the clipping, he talked about this part that before he was ever in Bollywood, he was imagining himself to do movies with Karan Johar, right? And eventually he happened to find one of those movies where he got a break and he came inside, not from a star family. He comes from a very ordinary background, right? Anushka Sharma also followed the process, Bipasa Basu. So a lot of these actors in Bollywood and Hollywood as well, right? And there's a science behind it. It's just not a random phenomena where by fluke something can happen, but there is a science. And now I think in the time we are in right now, we know about this part, that exactly what possibly is happening in that process.
So we'll get into the science, but let's take this step by step so that everybody who's listening for the first time, they are getting sort of exposed to the idea of manifestation.
Sure.
And we might have all heard that, hey, you know what, our thoughts do something, but then we not necessarily know how to do it. How do I go ahead from what I want right now and what the process looks like, if we can break that down.
Right.
And then you can also talk about the science, right? Let's say, let's talk about the topic that a lot of people would ideally want. Like everybody would want the abundant in all areas of life, but the top on the list is the abundance of money.
Right.
So let's say somebody says that I want to make XYZ amount. Right? Like in Jim Carrey's case, it was $10 million. Right? So let's say whatever that number that people have in their mind right now, then what are the tools and the, resources that are out there for them to sort of tap into that they can do? Right.
Before I talk about this part, one of the most searched Google term on YouTube about manifestation is how do I get my ex back?
Oh.
That's a very popular
really?
search query. One of my YouTube guy was saying me, sir, make something on that topic. It's very, very hot topic out there.
How do I manifest my ex back in my life?
So that's a good hook to get people.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, abundance, very important. So there are many steps for it, right? First step is, most people, when you talk to them that what is your goal in terms of money, they'll have no goals, right? Nobody has even a figure in the mind very clear that what is that I want to earn in next 5 years time, 10 years time. And most people would say, I'm doing a job right now, I'll go at 10% hike, 20% hike, and that's how I reach in a way, right? So first, creating a goal, an outcome is the first step, what you rightly mentioned, right? Without a goal, it's like you have not sown the seed. And let's take the analogy of the seed and the plant. If you have not sown the seed and you're waiting for something to happen, nothing would happen because seed is not sown. I want a mango tree. It takes 5 years time, but I have to sow the seed first, right? If I've not sown the seed, nothing's going to happen. So first step is, have you got a very clear-cut goal in mind?
So that is what you call sowing the seed.
Sowing the seed, the first step. It always starts with a very clear-cut outcome. Because look, the nature, the way we look at life right now, if you look at the nature, everything is very precise. The entire nature is a very fine rhythm. Nothing is just randomly happening. Though we may not know the reason behind it, but everything, look at the sun coming up, the trees growing, the life cycle, the days everything has a very precise rhythm to it. The way we have a biological clock as well, right? Circadian rhythm. So until and unless you do not follow a very precise system, randomly nothing is going to happen. The first step is setting a clear-cut goal, which possibly in this, you talk about abundance, having a money outcome for yourself, right? That I want to have X amount of money in next 5 years time. First step. And most people, the mistake they do is, they say, I want more money. Okay, take 100 rupees more in your salary. But that's not what you want. You want more money. How much? Is the outcome clear? Because now we know that brain works differently when it knows the outcome. There's a very famous book, and I'm just diverting from the topic a bit. There's a very famous book called as the Psycho-Cybernetics, right?
I've heard a lot about it.
And this book was written by a surgeon, a cosmetic surgeon, Dr. Max Maltz. And entire self-help industry, which we have seen last 50 years, kind of is based on this book. And he talked about that how our brain in a way functions, right? So we all have a very strong self-image in our mind, right? About what can we do, what we can't do, what is possible, what is not possible. Our worth, self-worth, self-esteem, right? And whatever goals we set, these are in directly sync with the self-worth, self-image. So if the goal you're setting right now is not in sync with the self-image, guess what? There's no chances that your brain will ever work to even help you find ideas to achieve the goal, right? So I think coming back here, first step is to create the outcome very clear, right? That's the first step. And when you have nothing, when you have the money and then you're saying, okay, I want to make more money, easier because you already make the money. But you have nothing, you make an outcome, first step. Now, when you make the outcome, the biggest mistake people have is, with a goal, when they see the goal, most people around you, and if you're staying in that company, they would say, oh, yeah, too big a dream. Come on, get more on practical terms, right? This is too big an idea.
Yeah.
And anybody you find on the top who has gone through rags to riches story, right? When they had a goal, nobody believed in their goal, right?
Yeah.
But eventually we know they end up reaching to that goal, all the great legends as well. So when you have the goal, what are your belief system about this goal? Is it possible or you think it's not possible? Moment you believe that this goal is possible, now comes the second step. When you believe something that it is possible, your brain starts working differently. And that's what the basis of what we call as placebo effect. Right? The entire talk about placebo, where a doctor gives you a medicine, it's not a medicine, it's just a saline water, and your body goes through healing.
Because you started believing that it's
Because you started believing that.
Because putting this in will heal you.
Putting this, if I'm having this medicine,
Yeah,
and it's not a medicine at well.
Yeah.
Look, if it's a medicine, I understand. If it's not a medicine also. So the brain has inbuilt capacity. Now, there's a researcher from Stanford, Dr. Alia Crum, and I urge everyone to go and find a TED talk on YouTube about this talk she gave on TED, in which they did an experiment. They went to a hotel and they interviewed the hotel staff, and 30, 40 of them, two groups they divided. One group they asked that how much activity you do throughout the day. And they say, we clean the rooms, we clean the floor, and all of that. And they told them, first group, that listen, the amount of activity you do every day is exactly the amount of activity prescribed by general doctors to be healthy. And second group, they said nothing. It's a control group. Guess what? They come after months back and they see those group for whom this idea was given that the amount of activity you do is enough to be healthy, they end up losing weight. Nobody went to a gym, no dieting, nothing at all they did. Only the idea was planted in the mind and they end up losing weight.
Wow.
And the research...
because they started genuinely believing
it, that I'm doing right
health.
now is good for my health. And the mind, the brain started shifting. It started, body started becoming more healthier. So now we know with science that belief has a major role to play. So coming back to the point, when you have a goal, what is your belief system about it? Is it possible or not possible? So merely having a goal and not believing it, listen, you have a goal, but you have not involved the brain in the picture. Or the mind is not in the picture. It's just a fancy idea, you're not believing it. The game changes when the belief comes in picture, when what we call as faith comes in picture.
And how do you do that?
We'll come to it. This is the goal. I have a faith. Now this is going to happen. Now how do you come to the faith aspect? Very important. Okay. Should we do a quick demo? So people who are watching this, they'll have more experiential understanding, right? Yeah. So all of those who are watching, and you also, Bijay, imagine a lemon on your hand right now. A big yellow juicy lemon, right? And see this lemon, the texture, feel the weight of this lemon, right? Imagine you have a knife in your right hand and take the knife and cut this lemon into two pieces, right? And take the half piece of lemon, smell the lemon, right? And imagine you are squeezing the lemon in your mouth. You're having the juice of the lemon in your mouth right now. Squeeze it tightly, right? Chew it completely, right? You've got a saliva in your mouth.
Yeah, I do.
Right? Your body has released digestive juices to digest the lemon juice. Where is the lemon? Lemon is not physically present. It's in the mind. So the brain has a unique system, which is the brain cannot understand the difference between reality and imagination. What you consider as imagination for the brain is also a reality if it's seen clearly in the mind. And before the podcast, we're talking about this, how people end up gaining more muscle strength just by imagination. How do you have more belief? That's where, I love this guy, Michael Phelps, US swimmer, old swimming champion. 32 gold medal in Olympics. Only guy in the history of human race. If you listen to his talk with his coach on YouTube, there's a video by him. From age 14, he imagined himself, visualized himself winning all the matches. He used to complete the race in his mind hundreds of times. He said, every gold medal which I won in the match, it happened second. First, it happened in the mind. Visualization is a tool through which you develop faith. Because when you visualize, now we know with neuroscience, when you visualize, your brain can make plastic changes, which means you can form new circuits just by the act of imagination, not even doing that act.
Wow.
And then we talked about the piano study from Harvard and the muscle study. How do you develop faith? When you're imagining your goal, achieving the goal, living that reality. So the brain suddenly starts feeling that, okay, this has happened for me. And that's where I start developing more conviction and faith in the case of lemon. Now imagine this. Move the lemon right now and put an imaginary fear here. What if I fail? Now, the fear also has the same impact over you. You will feel nervous. You go into a state of negativity or anxiety just by a thought. So that's the ability of the brain. It can make you feel very positive, very negative. So having the goal and then attaching a faith to it is the real process. Obviously, the tools goes deeper, but so for abundance mindset or the goal of abundance, having a goal, and when you bring the faith, that's where the game changes. What happens now? Now, in the brain, we have a system called as reticular activation system, RAS, right?
Yeah.
The work of RAS is simple. So this example, and a lot of people who have, they would have this maybe a similarity in their life as well as example. You decide to buy a car, a red color, Honda XUV something, right? Mahindra XUV. And now you go outside, you see the car everywhere, right? You see the poster of the car, you see in the mall parking. Now the car was there before as well. Why you are now noticing the car? Because this RAS is a bundle of neurons at the back of the brain. The job is to filter out data from the environment, right? So any given point of time, our brain is processing tremendous amount of data, more than they say 2 million or 4 million data. But not everything is coming in your conscious mind. Only a few data, maybe say 1% of it is coming in your conscious mind. Now, what you get in the conscious mind is what you act on. So the moment you believe something, now the mind starts generating or bringing your awareness to those ideas which can help you get to the idea of maybe building that money through a business, through a job, through something. So when Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, he was a poor chap, so poor that girlfriend left him, nothing to feed. He had a dog, loved him a lot. One day he decided that I can't feed the dog as well, so let me sell him. And he went to a liquor shop. There's a guy who bought him as well. And this guy had no job. And he sat there thinking that I want to live a great life. What do I do? And he saw a poster of a boxing match, which was put there, free entry. He went inside the boxing match. And being there, he got an idea that what if I can make a movie of a boxing match? And he wrote the entire script of Rocky sitting there on a waste paper. Now he takes the script, goes to many producers. They all said, what a crap movie. Nobody will watch this, right? All denied. Finally, one guy said, I will produce and direct this movie, right? But he said, listen, but the terms are different. If we make loss, you will bear majority of the loss. And if we make profit, it will be equally divided. He said, okay, go ahead, good. And he had nothing to eat at that point of time, like such a low point in his career. And then he says something. He says, listen, okay, we are agreeing on the deal, but I will be the lead actor. And the guy says, are you crazy? You can't even speak properly because Sylvester Stallone had a paralysis on the left or right cheek. So his voice is slightly in a different way, right? He says, are you crazy? He said, no. So then I'm not giving the script. I'm not doing the movie then. He walked out. After a month, this producer calls him back. Okay, come back. Let's do this. But the terms change. Now, the entire loss, if the movie makes a loss, it goes to Sylvester Stallone. And that's how the first version of Rocky came in, Rocky 1. And now we know what happened with Rocky 2, 3, 4, 5. So how does that idea of the picture came in? Because he was having an intention that I want to do something to become great. And the brain was constantly searching for ideas. And here was the idea which the brain brought in your awareness. So that's how when you have a goal, your mind will generate an idea. Maybe to call a friend, maybe to write a book. X number of things can happen, right? And that's how you reach the goal. It's not going to happen that you imagine an abundant goal and tomorrow you get up and Lord Ganesha is standing with the money in his hand. That's a foolish idea.
Yeah.
You will get ideas to execute, work on, for this to be achieved. That's possibly the process how it works out.
Wow, that's beautifully explained. So now you
Thank you,
mentioned
yeah.
about visualization, and this is something that a lot of people talk about. And visualization, in very simple terms, is you just see what you like is the outcome on your head before it happens, and with as much clarity as possible, right? So, is there a process that you would like to give for people? So, there is something that
Yeah.
if we want to accomplish in our life,
Yeah.
that is there a process of visualization? How do I go about thinking it, right?
Right.
Because sometimes, and we'll come to affirmations a little later.
Yeah.
After this, maybe we can talk about
Sure.
affirmations and the roles, that plays in the whole thing.
Sure.
But how does one visualize?
Okay. So, visualization is, again, as you mentioned, simple activity wherein you see yourself achieving a certain outcome, right? Now, there are two kinds of visualization. One is a process visualization, one is an outcome visualization. What is that? Number one, I want to earn X amount of money, right? And I see the goal very clearly in my mind. Now, my mind believes that this is possible. Before it was not a belief as well. Now it's a belief that, okay, I think I can make 10 lakh rupees a month, right? It's possible for me because I've seen the outcome. I see myself reaching that goal, living that lifestyle and all of that, right? Which we hear people like Lady Gaga, Jennifer Aniston, people like, this model, Graham something, right? All these people eventually imagine themselves living that life, having the outcome. Now that's one part of visualization. A lot of time people do this, right? And they may achieve the goal or they may not achieve the goal because you have seen the outcome. But listen, just seeing the outcome doesn't make the outcome happen. You have to work for it as well. And working is the difficult part. And that's where it comes, which is called as process visualization, where you imagine yourself doing that activity in a very, very, very precise manner, right? Which means you are laying down in the brain the circuits of doing that activity every single day and reaching the outcome. So when these two are combined together, it becomes deadly, right? Now, most people, so before I talk about visualization, let's talk about brain states, right? Now, or the conscious, subconscious mind. Now, we're talking right now, right? We are what we call as in a beta brain state. So if you measure the brain through a EEG machine, the different activities of brain. Right now in a beta brain state, in which if you look at the brain, the activities cycle, the activity of, in the brain, what is the cycle per second? It is around, in beta, it is around 14 to 21 cycle per second. That's the brain activity, which means waking consciousness. We are active, we are trying to find reasons, what is right, what is wrong, the logical thinking at this state, right? But moment you start feeling a bit drowsy, you're watching something, you're feeling a bit drowsy, you're going off to sleep, your thinking mind starts to come, kind of slows down. It goes kind of to sleep and you can't think properly. What is happening? You're entering alpha level of brain activity, in which semi-sleep state, just entering the sleep, which is, by the way, is the gateway of subconscious mind, in which your brain activity goes down to around 7 to 14 cycle per second, which means less brain activity, no logical thinking. That's where intuition comes, that's where ideas come, flashes comes, epiphanies happens at that stage. And then from alpha, when you go to a sleep state, when you're sleeping, you're seeing a dream, right? We look at the brain activity is into theta, which is from 4 to 7 cycle per second. And then you go to the deepest part of the sleep, in which there's no dream, right? Completely at the deepest level, called as delta, 0 to 3 cycle per second, which means there's hardly any brain activity, right? Most people, they visualize when they're in beta, waking consciousness. But in waking consciousness, your logical mind is active. And what is logical mind? All the conditioning the world has put onto you.
Yeah.
What is possible, what is not possible, what can be done, what cannot be done,
Yeah.
right? Now, if you visualize from that state, right, as you're visualizing, guess what? A thought in your mind would say, listen, you're trying to be $1 million, whom are you fooling? Drop this stupid idea. And people say, Avinash, I visualize, but I have this negative thought.
Yeah.
Yes, because you're falling beta level of mind. Now, simplest activity which you can do to make it more effective is to enter alpha. What Michael Phelps did as well. So if you look at the video, what he said, and look, why I give Michael Phelps and these people, because 32 gold medals is not easy to win.
Yeah.
It does not require only the skill set.
True.
It requires something greater, He said he used to practice what we call as progressive relaxation. So every day, as you sleep in the night, you enter alpha. every day. It happens for us. We go to alpha, theta, delta. And alpha, theta, delta is the subconscious and conscious mind. But when we enter that state, we lose our awareness. We're not aware. We simply go and sleep and we get up, oh, I slept, right? The key is, can I enter the brain state and be aware? That's the key. So when you sit down and relax yourself, right? Relax your body parts, slowly take some deep breath, lights are dimmed, right? You're feeling very relaxed and calm down. When you feel that the body has entered a certain level of relaxation and the thoughts are not coming right now, your mind is also very calm and kind of relaxed, right? You have entered the alpha state. And that's where visualization should happen. There are many tools for it. Hypnosis, this is what it does in a way. And there are many processes for it. There's a technique called as Yog Nidra in our Indian science, which this neuroscientist from Stanford, Dr. Andrew Huberman, talks about it. NSDR, non-sleep deep rest, which is a scientific term, but eventually the idea is what we call as Yog Nidra, right? That's a process in which you relax the body consciously and you go into a very deep state of sleep. Not sleep, but aware. Body is sleeping, the mind is aware. Mind is active, right? Now, in that state, when you visualize, what happens? There is no logical mind. When you're seeing yourself becoming a person, achieving a goal, there is no counter thought coming in the mind. And just by doing that activity, that change in the visualization process, right, brings a drastic change in your outcomes, right? So, as you sleep in the night, relax yourself, keep the body relaxed, go lighter a bit, lights dim, and the moment you feel, I'm slowly feeling a bit of sleepy, start imagining your goal then. That's one. Or else, when you get up in the morning, the first 10-20 minutes, you are coming from delta, theta, alpha, and beta.
Yeah.
So, first 10-20 minutes when you get up in the morning, don't do anything. Spend that time in visualizing your goals. Because your mind is, like you see in the morning, we are not very active. Like, what I was saying,
it takes a time for you to get to your
normal conscious state. So that's a very amazing time to visualize outcome for yourself. And if you just follow, and look, this is where this thought from Thomas Edison comes in. He says, never go to sleep without putting a request to your subconscious mind. It's a very famous quote he said. Wow. And most of his invention was a result of this, and we'll talk about maybe as we go ahead. So these two times, which you can do miraculous work if you can visualize then. But if you visualize in the normal waking state, what is happening is you'll have counter thoughts, logical thinking,
You're not
possible.
100% believing it.
Absolutely. So good time is spent.
The thing about belief that you mentioned is not happening.
Absolutely. Because the logical mind says, what? $10 million? Are you a fool?
Yeah.
Look at your marks. You've got 60% marks.
Yeah.
Look at your, right now, the salary. So logical thinking. But look, if it's all logical thinking, the world will see no progress. All records are broken because somebody had the courage, audacious dream to break the records, right?
Yeah.
So somewhere everything is possible, but you have to bring the belief element, the faith element, and which requires practice as well. So that element in visualization changes the game. When you go to alpha or theta level of mind and then you visualize, that's where the key is in a way.
I think that's a great practice for everybody who's listening on how they can actually visualize it. When you visualize, like you said, so, and again, within visualization, I have one more question. Okay?
Yeah.
When you visualize, do you see yourself there?
Yeah.
Or do you visualize in third person? How do you?
You're decoding all the workshop tools now.
I'm like,
amazing, amazing. So look, both process works out. So what we call as in the visualization term, first person visualization or third person visualization, right?
Yeah.
So what is third person? When I see myself
as someone else
doing something as a third party.
You see it. Yeah.
I'm standing there, I'm talking to the person, and that's also effective, which is good. Sometimes people can do this very easily, right? Third person visualization.
Yeah.
But what we know with science or from the ancient wisdom as well, first person visualization is more powerful. When you are not seeing yourself, but you are being there from your eyes, living that moment.
So if I'm interviewing Avinash, then I don't see myself. Because right now I'm not seeing myself.
Absolutely.
I see what I'm seeing right now in real life.
Absolutely. You are in the first person.
Very powerful.
In that state, the brain kind of gets programmed, or subconscious kind of gets programmed very faster.
Got it.
So if you can be in the first person state, and the missing element is the emotions.
Yup.
If you can involve all your five senses, when you're visualizing, see yourself, suppose, imagine you are having a vacation, right? Imagine yourself, like, I'll give you one example. So I was in Mumbai and I was, attending a session, And I saw in the session, it was a pranic healing workshop, something which I really love and adore. And there was this person called as Ness Wadia, the Wadia Group chairman, the Bombay Dyeing, the
Yeah.
brand, Britannia. He was at the main, in the front row. And I said, wow, I'm a sales guy. I have done my marketing and sales. I said, let me go and pitch in.
Yeah.
And this was 2016 or 17. I was just starting my work, still
Yeah.
just growing up. I said, let me go and pitch in. I said, but no, if I pitch in, what if he says no? What if he gets angry? All of that part. So this was the first tea break. I saw him at the front. I said, let me give a shot. So what I did was I sat there and I ran through the entire movie in my mind. I'm going to him. I'm shaking his hand. I'm giving my visiting card. And he is saying, Avinash, wow, amazing work. I love this work. And he's very happy, very positive. He's giving me his visiting card and all of that. So I did this for 25 minutes, sitting at the last seat.
Wow.
And the session is on. And I'm visualizing myself, right?
Yeah.
And I saw myself that when I'm going to him, there's nobody here. He's alone standing there. And he gives me time to talk about this as well. Lunch break happens. I see, where is he? Nowhere to seen. Lunch break gets over. People come in. He comes at the last. I say, oh, I missed the opportunity. But there's one more tea break. And these VIP seats, people had a different entry and exit to go ahead. So I said, okay, I have one more opportunity, which is the evening tea break, right? 4 o'clock. So I went to the tea. I came back early. And as I came back early, I saw he was starting at the front. And one lady was talking to him. And I said, now is the time for me. Now I have visualized everything that I'll go to him, I'll talk, I'll give my card, all of that in that 30 minutes practice, right? And I said, it's the time to go ahead now. And I made the move. And I'm going there, and it's like a movie being replayed in my mind. That I just saw this happening right now.
Yeah.
Cutting the long story short, I went there. As I went closer to him. The lady moved. He was alone. I said, sir, my name is Avinash. I'm a great fan of yours. And this is my card. And the way I imagined his response was exactly the same. Right? And there's a common link. I come from a place called Bihar. He follows Bihar School of Yoga, and that was a rapport building point. He said, oh, man, you're from Bihar. I love Bihar School of Yoga. And then he gave me his card. He said, Avinash, come to my office. Let's do some work together.
Wow.
And all this I imagined, using all my 5 senses. 6 months later, I was doing a workshop for his entire leadership
5
team.
senses. Talk about 5 senses, yeah.
Exactly. 6 months later, I was in his company doing the workshop for all his leadership team, what I eventually imagined. So coming back to the point, 5 senses. So if you're not involving your 5 senses, or only a visual, generally, which is the prominent sense we have, the subconscious belief is not stronger because you have not involved the touch part of it, feel part of it, emotion part of it, smell, taste. You have not done that part. So moment in visualization, you bring all the 5 senses, acceptance in subconscious mind is faster. It increases the potency of visualization by 10 times minimum, right? And if you add the emotional element of it, that's where the faith comes in picture, because they say emotion is the seat of subconscious. The heart, what we call is the heart chakra, is the seat of subconscious. So the moment you bring in faith, because look, the thoughts or the data is in the mind, but the thought is not in the body. Thought is here. In the body, we have emotions. Emotions embodies, right? So for manifestation, this is involved in the body as well. Thought and emotion, both has to be in sync, right? So moment you in visualization, you bring 5 senses plus the emotion, it's extremely powerful. And no matter what you want to achieve for yourself, improving in something, like I was a very ordinary student in my past, right? Hardly any confidence, low inferiority complex, low self-esteem. I don't used to like my the skin color, the texture, my personality. And I realized, oh my God, till the point I have that image in my mind, I'll never grow, I'll never achieve, because I never have confidence in me, no self-worth. And the first thing I did in my MBA was to start imagining myself to be a better person. And using all the 5 senses. And that's only the game started changing. So coming back, 5 senses, emotion is the critical part, which you rightly said.
Wow. I think this is really powerful. And I can relate a lot to this, right? To the part of me, whole my life till my 12th, I believed that I'm an average student, and that's the level that I lived with. And because I wanted to go to, I come from Nepal, and I wanted to go to Kathmandu University. And I couldn't make it to the entrance for the course that I wanted to study. And that's when I came to Delhi. And that was the moment when I said that, hey, you know what? Even if I couldn't make it to the best university, I'm going to be best wherever I go. And that's the commitment that I made. And then the first day I went to my college, all I had was 68% on my 11th and 12th average, right? And the kids in the college first year, were 85%, 90%. But then I believed or I committed that I'm going to be best. And I was just paying attention to who are my competitors here. These are my competitors. These are the kids who are answering, when, professor is asking questions, these are the people who are answering. These are my competitors. And, I like, I just believed very strongly and then sort of did that. And the next thing that happens is
Wow.
all 4 years of my college, I topped.
Wow.
And which for myself was like, all my life I believed I was an average student. And how the hell on earth is possible that I could never imagine myself as a topper. But here I strongly believe that I'm going to be topper. I could see that on my head, and at the same time, I was taking action. But I have a question here, okay?
Yeah.
Now, you said that when you imagine, you visualize, you see the pictures. But for you to accomplish any goals or get any results that you want, okay, and this might be maybe from I'm taking a step back, and maybe this is also from the whole universe kind of thing, right? You seeing things on your head, you feeling on your heart,
Right.
you believing it, seeing it, like involve as many senses as you do.
Right.
But all of this is happening within you,
Absolutely.
on your head.
Absolutely.
Then how does that goes on to change the event in the world for you? Like you said that, I imagine that I'm going to go and meet this person,
Right.
and he's going to be all by himself. Like there's going to be no other person. And then
Yes.
how does that happen that lady, just moves in?
Right.
Is that a coincidence? Or, is that something that our mind is so powerful to create those scenes that we have been imagining by, like just changing, isn't that crazy?
Now, this is the meat of the entire topic, right? Okay. So before I go ahead in this, the way you talked about your topper, something similar happened in my life as well. Till graduation, I came to Pune, very average. I took a 2 years gap. Like, what would I do in MBA? Like, no interest. And finally, I came across a college called as the Sadhana Center for Management, SCMLT, in Pune. Professor M.S. Pillai late Professor M.S. Pillai was the founder director. And in that college, in 2 years, that's where my life changed. First year, still I was ordinary, last bencher, doing nothing at all. And I was visualizing myself. So I said, in the college, what the best can I achieve for myself? And the only thing I saw was this award, which every year the batch passing out, the best all-rounder student. 1 lakh rupees cash prize,
Wow.
multiple job offers, you get name, fame, all of that. And I said, let me aim for it. Now, for me, it was a very, very, what do you say?
Unrealistic.
Unrealistic idea. What the hell? You can't speak in a class. And you imagine yourself to be the best all-rounder student.
Yeah.
But I kept on imagining, right? I imagine myself getting on the stage, taking the award, looking at the kids, all of that part, the class, everything. It so happened, I said, okay, if this is my outcome, what do I do about this part? Now, those questions started coming in my mind. I said, the only thing I can do is to work with the professor, closely with him, which I can use something, learn and change. And I entered in his close proximity, started doing workshops, seminars in the college, handling placements, all of that part. And second year, life completely shifted for me. I was 24/7 into work. And cutting again the story short, on the convocation day, I think 29th April, when they announced the Best Student Award, guess what? I was the one.
Boom.
My dad was standing at the back of the hotel, Lee Meridian, Pune, and he had tears in his eyes. He can't believe that this is possible for this guy who always saw that as our average chap. And for me, that was a breakthrough moment. Oh my God. I visualized, but when you receive it, it's like you being the top. It is something completely different. Oh my God, this is really happening. And when I was going to the stage, step by step, getting on the podium, towards the podium, it was like, oh my God, this is like I'm living every moment which I imagine for myself, right? And that was a breakthrough moment for me as well. Post that, things change. So coming back, how it works out. Now listen, and all those who are listening right now, this experience, I ask people this question, and till now, last 8-10 years of my work, I have met thousands of people. Everybody says, yeah, I have this experience, right? And I'll ask you this question as well. Has it ever happened with you? You are thinking about somebody, a person, a loved one, a friend, and a call comes. What is the logic for this? What is the basis for this? And it's not a random, because everybody has this experience in their life. I was thinking about somebody, I met a friend, I got a call from them. What's the basis? So something's happening. We may not know the reason for it, but something is happening at the background, right? Now imagine this. I put in this room, do you see ants somewhere? Nowhere, right? Suppose there's no ants here. And I put some sugar here. In 2 hours, you'll have a very fine line of ants coming towards the sugar. Who will WhatsApp them? Who would send an email to them? Look, listen, there's a sugar here, come here right now. when in winters, some birds from Siberia would travel to India, or like these birds who migrate, hundreds of kilometers they travel and they go somewhere and they come back at the exact same time. The entire plant animal kingdom works on that thing. What is that basis of that particular thing happening? Something is there. So now we know what is happening. We have something called as the Earth magnetic field, right? The electromagnetic field of the Earth, right? And if you look at the ancient wisdom, even we, though we think we are the physical body, which is not the true reality, we are the consciousness, but in the body, we have something called as what our sons in ancient wisdom talked about, koshas, right? Pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, kamamaya kosha, or in English we say sheath, S-H-E-A-T-H. We have different bodies, physical, etheric, emotional, mental, right? Now these bodies are not physical, these are energy bodies on which we have heard about chakras. And this body is where the chakras are based at. So which means everybody has something called as what we call as energy body, or in a general term, aura, right? Prana body, pranic body, aura, which is, by the way, the basis of all alternative medicine, right? Now, when you imagine something, when you're creating an outcome for yourself, the way, for example, I'm in Pune, you're in Delhi, I'm calling you, I dial a number and the call comes to you exactly. How come? How the call from my phone is coming to you? Well, I put a number, the information is being sent to the server, and from server, your number gets fed in, and the call comes in, right? Something similar is happening here. When I'm imagining something, first thing happening is in my energy body, I create what we call as energy form of an idea, or what we call as in the spiritual terminology, thought form, right? An idea or an outcome possibly, right? Now this idea, this outcome is made up of energy. Which energy? Mental energy, emotional energy. And these are deeper spiritual topics, but this idea is a thought, right? Now this thought as energy has no physical limitations, right? This is one of the deepest concept in spirituality you'll understand about, right? These rishis and munis, when they should do telepathy, right? They will communicate through this thought, right? Somebody wants to go deeper about this part. There's an amazing book by Swami Shivananda, who was the, one of the great spiritual teacher, and his disciples started Bihar School of Yoga and, in the US, Transcendental Meditation, right? So he wrote a lot of things about this concept, right? So when you think of a thought, this energy of thought gets into your system. So you're walking with many thoughts which are energy vibrating in your aura, right? In your aura, in the energy body, right? Now, every thought of individual, all of us, is very unique, right? The energy is completely unique. Now we have cameras which can capture the energy body. So current photography, GTV camera, gas discharge visualization, and today is common many places. You can go and take a picture of your aura as well. How my energy body looks like right now, right?
Wow.
So it's a well-known now science in a way is coming up, and these are all generally has come from Russia. So now this thought which we have is a very fine form of energy you have created. Now you visualize for once. The energy is there, but very weak. It's not stronger. You visualize for 1-2 months time, the energy form has become stronger. You add the element of emotion, which means the idea was a seed and emotion is a fertilizer. Moment the emotion comes in picture, the game changes. So the great Rishi Patanjali, he said once in one of his book, it is written, the thoughts, and I'm not exactly quoting it, but I'm just giving you the essence of the
Gist
quote,
of it,
that the thoughts you held in your mind with faith and certainty manifest in physical reality. So when this thought becomes stronger with emotion, is vibrating. Now, because all of us are connected with one energy field, which is the earth energy field, everyone, every human being, plants, animals, all of us, right? So moment I have this very strong thought, and in which the thought is, for example, starting my own business and building an income stream, this thought, as it vibrates, the nature of this thought is, or energy is, that like energy attracts like energy. So when I have this thought, in the universe, through this energy field, it is attracting a certain similar vibrations. The birds of same feather flock together, right?
Yeah.
So if my thought is stronger, in case of Jim Carrey, you end up somehow meeting the exact person which can help you get that done. So your energy body is the interface through which you communicate with the energy of the earth.
Wow.
And on which basis animals travel, they swim, they are following the earth magnetic field. Bees, and that's why today with the mobile towers, the energy field of the earth is disturbed. That's why bees are getting extinct now. 70% is gone because they go out, they can't come back to their home. They have no direction to come back because the magnetic field is disturbed now. Now, there's a scientist in Germany, astrophysicist, right? Dr. Bernd Kroplin. He was researching that when people are going in space and they get sick, how do you heal them? So he was doing some research on this, and he ended up finding something miraculous. And a lot of YouTube videos of his, right? What he found, and he did the research on water. What he found is a very simple experiment he did. Suppose I'm having say there is a plate in which I take a syringe and I take a drop of water, and I put that water in that plate, and they see the microscopic picture of that water. So the water when the water evaporates, it leaves a shape, right? And if you just go and Google it, you'll find these images on the Google as well. So if I put 10 drops, right, from that syringe, all 10 drops have the same image, exactly the same image. But if I give the same syringe, having the same water to you, and you put the drop now, the image completely changes.
Wow.
The image completely changes. I take the same syringe back, I put the water, image is same as before. If you now put the drop, it's different. And if I put, it's different. And it's the same water, same syringe, right? What eventually they found is, and this was not just once, twice, and he's a proper scientist, years of study. What they found is, when I am putting the droplet of water, it is passing through my energy field. When you are putting, it's passing through your energy field. And depending on the frequency or the vibration of your energy, the structure changes. And the way we have an eye impression, which is unique, the finger imprint, which is unique, we have an energy which is completely unique. And there are now scientists like Dr. Amit Goswami, he's a quantum physicist, right? Amazing insight on this. A lot of books he has written. Dr. Bruce Lipton from ex-Stanford, cellular biologist, he talks about this as well. So coming back to the point that we are a being of energy and we live in an energy world. So your thoughts, quoting Swami Shivananda, amazing teacher. You must read his books, all freely available on I think on Google as well. He says that thought is even faster than light. And for it, there are no physical boundaries.
Yeah.
Because it's a very subtle energy which transmits. And now, now there are experiments being done in US where they are testing these concepts like telepathy, like or can you communicate through thoughts?
Yeah.
There are research already in place right now, which is happening in a way.
We have already started seeing products in place as well, where like computer programs and stuff like that, where you think and things starts happening.
Things happening. So the same principle on which mobile works out, right? Now, there is another institute in US called as Institute of Heart Math, and possibly the most scientific, credible body right now in the world, a group of scientists exactly doing the work on this right now. That we all are connected with one energy field, which is the earth energy field, right? So what happens to me also impacts people around me. What happens to you also impacts people around us as well right now, yeah? And, they identified, they put a lot of tests, a lot of devices, and they measured that, the human energy field. So from the heart, this energy field goes around several meters away from your heart. And it's a beautiful, egg-like structure, which is like completely around the body. So that is the basis on why, if I think a thought, I end up attracting something in my life. Because energy has a connection.
Wow.
Energy attracts like energy, and unlike energy repels unlike energy. You always end up meeting kind of person you are. Now, most people want a great life, want an abundant life, rich life, successful life. But what are you as a person? As a person, I'm procrastinating, I'm lazy, I'm fearful, I'm doubts. Then what you're imagining will not work out. But what you are is what you're going to bring back in your life. Hence, coming back to the point I mentioned initially, changing your personality is the key. Till the point you do not upgrade your mindset, your belief system, your behaviors, your self-esteem, self-worth, and raise the energy higher, prolonged success, permanent success is not possible. You may have 1-2 manifestations, but you go back again to the same state, right? What Dr. Joe Dispenza says, personality creates the personal reality.
Wow.
So changing your personality, and what is personality? Your thoughts, your belief system, your emotions, right? Your mindset, your actions, you have to change all of it. Before you become the person who earns $1 million, can you be like that person right now? Can you feel like the person? Can you think like the person? Right? So before these champions in athletes, in cricket, in football, before they became that champion, they first convinced themselves that I'm a champion. What Muhammad Ali said, right? Even before I became the champion, I imagined myself becoming the champion. Then only the reality happened. So just to summarize this in one line, everything happens twice in this world.
Once in your mind and once in
First in the
reality.
mind, second in reality.
Wow.
Nothing can happen in reality without happening in the mind first.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And this is the basis on which, the entire, if you refer to any spiritual organization or ancient text, it points to this in a way. And now we have science as well. Enough data across. Dr. Brendan Kaplan, the water research, Dr. Amit Goswami, Dr. Bruce Lipton, enough data which says, yeah. Okay, can I give you one more example?
Sure.
This is a very phenomenal example. 1995, a scientist from Italy, I guess, Rome, Dr. Reno Pioch, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly, P-O-C-H, Reno Pioch. And if you go to Google, you'll find this article. He did an experiment. He took newly born chicks, right? 15, 20 of them. And this was repeated multiple times. Now, when the chicks were born, there's a room which they built it up, right? And proper controlled experiment. They had cameras set in. The chicks were kept, right? When they're born, there was a robot which was kept with the chick, right? And the robot was designed to move randomly in the room, in that space, move randomly, right? Now the chicks are born, whatever they see as the first thing moving around them, they think is my mother, right? And the mother was not there. They were kept intentionally around the robot. So as the robot moves, the chicks follows the robot, which means the chicks feels this is my mother. And there's a proper research paper on the study which was published on Google, proper PDF. Somebody can go and also check it. Maybe we can give the link if you in the podcast. So this happened. Okay, fair enough. Nothing to doubt about this. But this is normal. Chicks thought they are the robot is the mother. Now what they did was they were mapping the robot activity throughout, like how the robot is moving. So the robot random movement was random. If you look at the chart, and it was like, if you look at the graph they have published, it's like all random in the entire space, right? Okay. Now what they did was they put the chicks in one cage at one corner of the room, right? Now the robot was left to move freely, randomly, no directions given to it, right? Chicks were at one corner, and this happened for days together. When they saw the movement of the robot in the graph, guess what happened? More than half of the time, or if you look at the graph, it looks very, very clear. I think 70-80% of the robot movement was around the cage where the chicks were kept.
Ooh.
How come that is possible? Robot is designed to move randomly, which it did. How come this time when the chicks were at one corner, the maximum movement was concentrated at one corner? How that was possible? Phenomenal. This is called a psychokinesis, which is like, you can move, you can make things move with your mind. That's the science of it, scientific study. And if you go to the Google, get the PDF link, and you see the picture, you'll see the activity on one side. Conclusion was, the chicks, with their strong intention to be close to their mother, made the robot move mostly around their cage.
Wow.
And that principle works on, because we know now we live in an energy world. Quantum physics says that it's not the physical matter, it's the energy. That's the basis of creation. And in energy, we are connected. There's no separation. You and me are connected right now.
Nice.
World is connected. That's why if there's a violence at one place, it will affect everybody. If there's a peace, like in US, they did the experiment. Swami Maharshi Yogi, transcendental meditation, they got a group of people who meditated together, and they had crime rates going down in winter season when the crime rates used to go up. With meditation, they're able to generate more love and peace in that area. And there's a proper data-driven study for like 30, 40 years together, right? So we know now our thoughts, intention affects the physical matter. And many experiments like this has been done. Somebody is sick, and there's a group of ladies unable to get pregnant, and a group some people prayed for, and a group nobody prayed for. The group which was prayed for, more ladies conceive a child.
Wow.
And these are proper scientific studies done in the world. So now we know, okay, so coming back to the point, it's an energy world we are living in. Whatever you want, It's already connected to you. It's just that you have to pull in your space. And the best example is internet. You just type it and you have the data in front of you.
Yeah.
And the data is in US, Harvard. How do you get on the Google instantly? There is a data getting transmitted, information getting transmitted.
Yeah.
Similarly, imagine a cosmic internet, a cosmic mind in which you download information from. And if I put an intention, it reaches to the right person. That's why becoming very specific about the intention is very clear. If it's vague, you are like, I'm calling you, but I'm not putting the right number. My call will go to 10%. And I love the example of Frida Pinto. If you look at this video again, a Simi Gariwal talk, her sister shared. She was an ordinary girl, no acting experience at all. And she imagined for 6 years, 5-6 years, in her washroom every night, holding a bottle of water as an Oscar trophy and giving an Oscar speech. 5-6 years later, she gets the first movie. Which movie? Slumdog Millionaire. And that movie goes on to win the Oscar. Is she the greatest actor? Not really. The best actor? Not really. How come she manifested the Oscar for her?
Wow.
That thought was so intense, so strongly built, that made her kind of get to the right person, the right opportunity, which landed for which the name we give is coincidence. But it's synchronicity. You are creating that to happen for you. So there's an amazing article on Google from a scientist from Pennsylvania. His name is Rick Henry. Henry is the name. Rick, or I'm not sure. So, but I'll send the article link. And there's an article he published, right, in the journal Nature, the most prestigious science journal on planet Earth, right? And in which he writes an amazing article. And he says at the last, accept this inarguable conclusion that the world is not, the universe is not physical, it is mental and spiritual.
Wow.
We live in a mental universe where a greater mind, like what the great scientist Max Planck said, I do not know what is the core of this, but there exists the intelligence which is beyond what we understand. And from that core, everything comes out. What even Nikola Tesla talked about, right? So that's the energy field, which you can give many names to it. Brahma, Supreme Parabrahma, the cosmic intelligence, whatever it might be. That's the idea.
Now,
we can go on and on. This is a very deep topic,
so,
but let's...
Yeah, absolutely. So now I want to, talk about that energy. Like if our energy is so powerful that it is capable of attracting anything that we want in our life, right? So number one, how can we raise our energy? Like what are the, like if you were to say like, 1, 2, 3, top like let's say 3 things or maybe 2 things, whatever. What are those top few things that can really help our raise our energy that people can do on a day-to-day basis?
Absolutely. Beautiful. All positive emotions are high energy and all negative emotions are low energy. Negative emotions have value. Anger has a value. Guilt has a value. Shame has a value. That's why nature is given to us. But we are not designed to live for a long time in that state. Those are destructive then. Now, psychology was focused on, for a long period of time, on studying people with issues, anxiety, depression, sadness. And some of these great psychologists like Professor Martin Seligman, Mihail Csikszentmihalyi, in 1990s they said, what about people who are super successful? They must be doing something correct, who are happy as well and successful as well, right? And they start studying these people. And from that study, what came out was positive psychology. The branch of psychology which studies about positive emotions, the impact of happiness, the impact of love, the impact of joy. So, the more you experience positive emotion, right, your energy goes higher. And ask yourself right now, when you're happy, your energy was high or low?
Yeah, of course it was high. Yeah.
When you enjoy, high. When you're blessed, when you are grateful, high energy. When you're sad and angry, low energy.
Yeah.
Now, there's an amazing book called as The Happiness Advantage by Sean Acor, from a Harvard professor. And he quotes a study from a lady called as Limbersky. I'm missing the first name. Limbersky is the second name. The World Authority on Research on Happiness. They did a meta study. Sonja Limbersky, SONJ, Sonja Limbersky. And you just Google it, you'll find the entire data as well. They did a study, which was a meta study. More than 212 studies combined. So they did the research on all these studies which has been done on happiness, right? What is the metadata, right? What is the study saying? What they found was, there's one thing which improves everything in your life. If you have this quality, you get more incentive, better job, better promotion, faster promotion, better relationship, better health, reach your goal faster, company's turnover increases, the profit multiplies with one quality. What is that? Happiness.
Mm.
And the book name was Happiness Advantage.
Wow.
Today we know happiness is the single biggest state or the quality or emotion. If we can be in that state, and the companies, the team which stay together in that state, they have tremendous results.
Mm.
So what is happiness? High energy.
Mm.
So coming back, how do you build high energy? Many steps. One, which is most common now, everybody's talking about this right now, which is meditation.
Mm. Yeah.
Ancient people talked about this. Now we have science. You talk to a good scientist, ask them, what can I do to change my life and improve my life? They say, practice 20 minutes of meditation, right? Why? When you do meditation, what is happening is, and most people have a different notions about meditation, but when you're doing meditation, what is happening is two things. One is, you are becoming aware of your own inner state,
Mm.
which is your emotions, your thoughts, right? Just by becoming aware, you are also, you are becoming aware of if I'm holding a negative thought or a negative emotion. And the moment you become aware of it, your energy changes because now you're aware of what the activity is happening within you, number one. Number two, when you practice meditation, what happens is your spiritual energy increases. If you look at the picture of the aura through the Kirlian photography, before and after, and and you look at the picture before meditation, after meditation, you'll find the energy has increased.
Mm.
And that's why people, when they practice meditation, they feel more peace, more calm, much better, more positive. So meditation is a simple practice which can raise your energy if done consistently, not once in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like eating once in a year and waiting that I'll be healthy throughout, right?
Mm.
Number one. Number two, physical exercises. Today we have science now that when you do physical activity, your energy goes up. Motion changes emotion.
Mm.
So today, unfortunately, there's a new thing which from Mayo Clinic, I think this research came in that there's a new smoke today. Like smoking kills people. There's a new smoke which is sitting.
Mm.
The amount of time you spend sitting, it lowers the energy. More
Yeah.
depression, more anxiety, more
Yeah.
chances of obesity, cancer, risk. All of this goes higher. So when you do physical activity, your energy field changes.
Mm.
That's why when sometimes you're exhausted, you're tired in the night, you are say, I don't have energy. A friend comes and say, Bijay, let's go for a cup of tea. You say, no, yaar, I'm feeling very, very down, very
Yeah.
low. You say, no, come on. And if somehow you go, and after 1 hour, you say, I'm feeling fresh right now.
Yeah. I'm glad I came.
Energy changed.
Yeah.
So exercise, we are designed to move. We are designed to move.
Yeah.
A scientist I was hearing to, and she said that, in the brain, we have an organ called as the cerebellum at the back of the brain, what we call as the chota margaj, the nana particle movie,
Yeah.
right? Around 70% of the brain cells, one type of brain cell, is concentrated in that part of the brain.
Mm.
Now imagine if Mother Nature has put 70% of that brain cell in one part, that must be important. What that part is designed for? Movement.
Wow. Mm.
We are designed to move.
Yeah.
So when you move, your energy changes. When you move, you can't feel anxiety, you can't feel fear. But if you sit back and do not move, that's where your energy is going down. So meditation, second is movement. Third, simple practices of happiness or gratitude.
Mm.
Give a compliment to somebody. How do you feel? You have a release of dopamine, oxytocin. You feel good about it,
Yeah.
right? So things like appreciation, things like gratitude, things like following your passion, doing your hobbies, right? So there are many activities like that. And you have to find what gives you joy, what gives you happiness, and then repeat that multiple times in a day, in a week, visualization. But meditation, things like movement, and things like deciding to be in high energy.
Mm.
This is what I
Very
learned.
important.
This is
Yeah.
what I learned from Tony Robbins, right? He says the greatest gift you have is to manage your state.
Mm.
If you can be in a high energy state, the way you talk, walk, if you can build that energy, it's a habit eventually, life changes. And that's it. That is what his core teaching is, that change your state, be in a high energy state.
Yeah.
So it's a decision we make.
Mm.
Do I sit or do I go for a walk?
Yeah.
Or do I feel sad? Do I get up and just try to move the body and bring the thoughts, chant affirmations, incantations, visualize, and take my energy higher? So many practices, but movement, exercise, meditations, visualization, these are some of the core practices which can make it think for you. But given you, make it a system, make it a habit, not just once in a while activity.
Yeah. No, those were really practical tips for people to go back and say like, hey, you know what, I'm going to
Absolutely.
just try and be in high energy state whenever I'm feeling low, whenever I'm feeling, decline in my energy.
Absolutely.
Just you can change the state, and I do agree with this. Yeah.
And a simple tool. So if I ask you right now, Bijay, tell me one of the happiest moment of your life.
There are multiple, events like that. Like I'll go back to the example that I gave, like
Yeah.
where second year of my college I was awarded as the best student.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And
Wow.
which was crazy. 'Cause
Yeah.
I couldn't in my whole life
Yeah.
believe that hey,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
something that was possible
Awesome.
for me. And after that, series of such incidents sort
Yeah.
of started
Look at
happening.
your energy right now. It changed.
See, yeah,
You
there
went
you
to
go.
high energy. So
True.
there's a tool in positive psychology called as recall. What thoughts are you recalling so
Very
often?
powerful.
Most people recall the sad events of life
Mm.
and they're depressed
Wow.
because you're constantly focusing on what has not happened.
Yeah.
But there's so many things which has happened good as well.
Mm.
If you can recall those things, imagine it can change your life so faster, right? So, can I recall some of the most beautiful things in my life, happy things in my life? If I can just do that, instantly my emotion changes. The brain releases a new chemical, maybe a serotonin, maybe a dopamine. I feel so joyful, so loved. My energy changes. So, emotion is changed by motion. Mental motion, physical motion, or emotion. All that can be done. So there are many things like that, but yeah, these simple practical tips.
Wow. This has been such a great conversation, and I'm loving the way where this is headed, because we started with talking about what manifestation is,
Right,
and then now
right,
we've
right.
gone deeper and deeper into
So
this.
if I give you
Yes.
because you now talked about manifestation, let me give you a simple formula. And I feel for me this is one of the major formula I follow. The equation, right? And if you can just live by this equation, your life would change. Equation is very simple. High energy equals to high quality of life. Low energy equals to low quality of life. The way I can measure your temperature of the body, like if I put a thermometer throughout the day, I see, oh, Bijay was 9 o'clock, 98.5, 93, 94, 97, keeps on fluctuating, isn't it, right? What if I can measure your energy on a minute by minute basis? Every minute I'll check in. Vijay, how's your energy? You say out of 10, 7. Next minute or hour by hour, you'll give me a number, right? Isn't it? If I take the sum total of it in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, you would say, what is the median? What is the average? What is the mean? You would say like 7.5. If that's your energy in a year's time, you're going to attract things at that level, that quality of life. So of 10 being super successful, 7 is good successful.
Yeah.
That's the reality you're going to create for yourself. You'll meet those people, you will come across those opportunities. If you take action, you get to have those results for yourself. So you change energy, your life changes. And that's why all super successful people, if you ever go close to them, you'll feel their presence.
Yeah.
I can feel the energy this guy has.
Crazy energy, yeah.
So we are talking about something more very tangible, right? And if you change that energy right now, you can change your reality. So we are constantly with our activities changing the energy, and that's how manifestation works out. Now people have in fear throughout the day, right? Stress throughout the day, and they are wanting to manifest something bigger. Listen, it's like sowing the seed of banana, waiting for mango to happen. Doesn't happen that way. So you have to constantly and in a way make it as a habit to be at a higher frequency.
So do you do emotional check every minute?
Absolutely.
How do you do that?
Absolutely. So, I'll have a reminder on my phone every 1 hour or every 2 hours that how are you feeling right now? I say, oh my God, the last 2 hours I've been feeling a bit anxious about the program I have coming in right now, or maybe some goal. Oh, take a deep breath, inhale, exhale, recall a positive emotion, move the body, back to my energy. So there's a concept in psychology called as metacognition, which is, are you aware about your own thinking? Right? And generally, emotion is a signal from the universe. If you're feeling low, see you're thinking. Something you're thinking which is not positive. And because the brain has the ability to make a thought so real like the lemon, which can make you feel. So even an imaginary thought can make you feel like suppose people who have fear of snake, right? And those who are listening as well right now. And if I just give you a scenario that imagine a black color king cobra right under the table where you're sitting right now, and it's slowly climbing up to your legs. Now, people who have snake phobia, suddenly the changes, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's an imaginary thought, the impact of the thought is very real in real time in the body. Emotion releases. If it's a negative emotion, energy goes down. If a positive emotion, energy goes up. So thinking, feeling in itself is a shift of energy. Mind, a heart, and the body. All three at the same time.
Yeah. No, this justifies the fact that, oftentimes we feel that, hey, what, this person always complains and this person is always like,
Right.
is in misery, and they
Right.
are actually living the life of misery, right? And we see people who are always happy, who always believe that bigger things are possible for them,
Absolutely.
and for somehow
Yeah.
that just happens in their life, and you keep
Absolutely.
on wondering, like, this person just just innately believes that bigger things are possible for me,
Yeah.
and always in that zone,
Yeah.
without overthinking, just
Absolutely. Absolutely.
happens for them,
Absolutely.
which is really powerful. So what are few things
Hmm.
that comes in our way, is I would say, that repels what we want?
Hmm.
Is there anything called as over manifestation or over visualization? Is there
Yeah.
anything like
Yeah.
that?
Absolutely. Now look. So we are working in at multiple levels.
Hmm.
Physical body, right, at a physical level. Emotional at the emotional level. Mental at the mental level. Visualization happens at mental and emotional level,
Hmm.
where I am tapping this energy field through my thoughts, through my mind, through my intention, right? And there's a lady called as Lynn McTaggart, the journalist became a researcher and did a lot of experiments on intention, how intention affects our life, right? And so when you do a visualization or a manifestation, it's a mental activity. You're
Hmm.
conceiving of idea, you're imagining outcome, which is good. But if you just keep on doing that only, when will you take the action?
Hmm.
So if you just throughout the day keep visualizing, right, not taking the action, it's like I wanting to have the mango, but I've never sown the seed,
Hmm.
or I'm never going to do the putting the fertilizer and water every single day.
Hmm.
So what I suggest is, out of the entire day, spend 20% of time in these activities, which is of 24 hours, maybe 2-3 hours in a way, in visualization, writing your goals, affirmation. But the rest, 80% of time, you have to be physically taking the action.
Hmm.
Because the person is there. I'm imagining a right job. Okay, the right job is present for me.
Yeah.
But I have to be at LinkedIn
Yeah.
for the guy to search me and send me a message.
Yeah.
But if I'm just no action at all,
Hmm.
it becomes delusion.
Hmm.
What Robin Sharma says, ideation without execution is mere delusion.
Hmm.
So I cannot just keep on imagining. Action has to follow as well, because we also have to follow the rules of physical reality,
Hmm.
in which action is an integral part of it. So mental reality, mind; physical reality, the body. So some people just have the idea, never takes an action.
Hmm.
Now you had an idea of becoming something, and that's what I assume. Something great, doing something phenomenal. You acted, you launched the podcast, and you got the success. And if this goes for next 5 years, maybe you are one of the best in the world in this area. So you had a vision, and the vision was translated in action through the work you're doing right now. So those ideas will come to you when you're visualizing. But if you do not take the action on those ideas, then the idea becomes just maybe a simple wish for you. But that's where over manifestation happens. It's too much focused on not taking the action, but only imagining. But that's not the work. You have to. Michael Phelps went and practiced also in the water, for years together. That's how he got the medal as well.
Hmm. Hmm. So people often feel that, hey, you know what? The more I want something,
Right.
the opposite seems to be
Mm.
happening for me.
Happening for me.
Like,
Yep.
I didn't want this business loss to happen for me, or I didn't want to lose this opportunity, or I didn't want to lose this person.
Right.
But exactly that's what happened.
Exactly. Many aspects to it. Number one aspect is that when we are imagining, we talk about visualization, right? So when you're imagining the outcome we want for ourselves, the relationship, the work, the money, we're doing from a beta level of mind. So you're imagining living the great life, and a thought comes in: what if I fail? So in that visualization, you have sown the seed, you also have sown the weed, right? And most people have this issue. That's why you have to visualize at an alpha theta level, where the logical mind is not present, like in hypnosis, right? Where no logical thought can come in. So you're not putting the anti seed as well in the outcome. Number one. Number two, people imagine something they want for themselves, and throughout the day, they are in a state of fear, worry, doubts. So in the morning, you imagine for 1 hour the business success, and then the rest of the day, you are in fear. But listen, the way morning energy contributed, the fear will also contribute. Hence, coming back, change the personality. You have to become from the core a joyful person, which is possible. That's what neuroscience says. Brain plasticity. We can rewire the brain. We can rewire the personality. We can become a new person. You have to build habits which keeps you at a higher energy level. So most people would have imagined the goal, they will think of it, and then they go back in stress, be with those people. So you are now putting so much negative energy as well, doubts, fear, obstacle. You'll speak those words which will push the manifestation away. So imagine out of day, 2 hours you spend in imagining the outcome, and then 8 hours
You
in
were in
feeling
fear.
fear.
Hmm.
Who wins?
Yeah.
So the big fish eats the small fish,
Yeah.
right? So you have to then come back, oh my God. And that's where the principle of detachment comes in manifestation. You can't throughout the day keep imagining the goal because you cannot be positive throughout the day.
Mm.
So morning you do this and you say, okay, I let it go now. Universe has sent it to you.
Yeah.
Now come back and you do the work. Detach from it.
Mm.
So even if you feel negative,
Mm.
the negativity is not entering my goal.
Mm.
It's not puncturing my goal.
You wrote that email, you send that, hit that send and forget about it.
That's it.
Reply will come whenever it comes.
That's it. Come back and then do your work.
Yeah.
You can't keep lingering to it because you're not a saint right now. You're not a yogi. The mind is the drunken monkey. It's still not within my control. So the mind will go back. What if this doesn't happen? Then you are stressed now. You're sending stress to it. So detach from the goal and come back to do the work right now. And then the next morning, do the meditation, calm, then visualize the goal, come back, then do the work. There's a fine balance of imagining and taking actions. Imagining, taking actions. Imagining, taking actions. That's why some people would repel the goals.
In the whole of this, in this entire thing that we have discussed about, do you also believe in the idea of surrender? Because oftentimes we think that we are the creator, we are the controller, we can control things and stuff like that. Like, it's my job to, while it is my responsibility to come out of it, now I'm going a little deeper into the spiritual level. Like, oftentimes we think that it's my job to, solve all the problem that I have in my life. It has to be in my control.
Right.
Versus saying that, hey,
It's
it's your problem. You
Absolutely.
solve it.
Absolutely.
You solve it through me.
Absolutely.
And then just leave it for the higher energy or whatever God you believe in, or you said that bigger energy
Intelligence.
field.
Absolutely.
So do you believe
Beautiful.
in that?
Absolutely. A beautiful point. I'm so happy you brought this point. Now listen, look at your body right now. Right? In the body, what all things are under your control? Right. Think about this right now.
Yeah.
The heart is
Movement.
functioning.
Yeah.
The heart is functioning. Is that within your control? Not really. The kidneys are working. The lungs, right? What is the minimum which should happen for you to be alive? Your breath. Is that within your control? It's happening on its own, right? So hardly for you to be alive, you have to do practically nothing. Just eat food, drink water, go to the morning washroom. That's it. The body is managing its own. How much control you have over the body? Literally nothing. Who is controlling then? The subconscious, nature, or what we call as God, right? So that's where the role of surrender comes in. If you want to manifest, if you want to have a fruit from a tree and you have this mango seed in your hand, you say, wow, I have a seed, the potential of having a great tree. Let me go and sow it. So I go dig the ground, the fertile ground, and I put the seed. But as I put the seed, I say, no, listen, the seed is mine. I can't leave the seed in the ground. So I'll take the seed back. How would you manifest? You're not giving it to the nature.
Beautiful example.
Because the creation is happening through nature. You are putting the intention out. But the role of getting it created, you eat food. But what in the body converts into blood, into vitamins, into proteins? That's a process inbuilt in the body. You can't say, okay, I have eaten roti. Okay, body, come on, take out from the roti this particular element. You do not see that part. So once you put the seed in the ground, you leave it. Because now nature has to do the work, right? To create it. Like the way a baby gets developed in the mother's womb, who is controlling that process? Something greater intelligence. So if you do not surrender it, it is now ego. From consciousness, you have come to ego. And it's a very thin line. I'm the creator. I am the only creator. I am the creator. Aham Brahmasmi. That's what our ancient text said. I am that I am, right? I am, God is within me. I am God myself, right? If you look
I'm
at
the universe.
I'm the universe. If you look at the, what we call as the Ashtavakra Gita, it is considered to be the highest text in the spiritual studies, right? If you read Upanishad, Vedas, all of it, ultimate is the Ashtavakra Gita, in which the Rishi Ashtavakra says very clearly, you are Brahma. That's it. Nothing else. The story ends here. But that's a good idea to have. But if you just have this idea mentally, it will make you destructive. But if you have experientially, it will make you free. So which means I am the creator, but even you are the creator, and it's also a greater creation over here. There's a mix and match of a lot of things happening here, and all elements has to play a role. So if I want something and I'm not letting it go, I'm holding it too tightly. The seed is in my hand, and the nature is never able to bring that in reality. So surrendering is the very important part, and that's where you have to detach from it. Dear God, I have done my work. This is my intention, my goal. I give it to you, right? And I'm going to put my action. Now, whatever results happens, I accept it. But sometimes results will not come in. Why? You are not completely prepared for it. Or sometimes you have not done the work required to be done. You want to be a billionaire, but you have not developed the muscles how to handle failure, how to handle success. So then you'll meet failures, because that failure will show you blind spots. Oh, I miss doing this. I miss doing this. And that will make you improve, become better, and now you're ready for a success to come. So surrendering is a very, very important element, without which, I'll give one example of faith and surrender from Swami Vivekananda. Right? These teachers had amazing ability to communicate points in stories, some amazing points. Right? Once he was traveling through a village, and there was a kid, there was a people in the village said, Swamiji, there has been no rains for many years here. Can you have rains? Can you pray for a rain, like or Havan and Yag, something like that? And he said, okay, we'll do a Havan for next 3 days. Third day rain will come, 10 o'clock. And for 3 days they did the Havan. Morning, evening happened. Third day, 10 o'clock, and the rain comes. Cats and dogs of rain. Literally rains very, very heavy. And they all said, Swamiji ki jai, Swamiji ki jai, Swamiji ki jai, because he brought the rain. And then he said, no, listen, wait. The rain is not because of you and me. The rain is not because of you and me. They said, they all got shocked. What? But we did the Havan, you did the Havan. Tapasya, we did the prayer. He says, the rain has come because of that small child standing at the back, who on that day came with an umbrella in his hand. Because he believed, because he has said, rain will come. Nobody else came with umbrella in his hand. Faith is active. It is when you move in, you cannot see the reality, you cannot see the goal, you cannot see the outcome. How that will be possible for me to raise the fund, build the idea, build the venture? How would I get the right people? But in faith, you move in action. You go ahead. With that faith, it is created for you. And the teacher of Paramahansa Yogananda, Swami Yukteswar Giri, right? There's a beautiful quote he said, which is, if your faith is divine, and again, apologies if I'm not saying the words correctly. If your faith is divine, then whatever you want, if it's not there in the universe, it shall be created for you. That's why in spiritual studies, traditions, faith is a critical element. Without faith, without surrender, you are operating from ego. That I am the one, I am the only one. Not the case. You are a part of a giant process. But you are like a hologram. You cut the holograms and every part is the whole. You are the part, but the whole itself. Like you take out a drop from the ocean, right? Now, the drop itself has the ocean as well. The same properties, right? But the drop is the ocean and the ocean is the drop. We are the part of God and we are the God. It's a very fine line between, both the points, right? Surrender is a very important process.
Wow. Avinash, I really had a great time, having this conversation because this is so vast and
Absolutely.
we went so deep into so many aspects of it.
Right.
And I'm sure right now, somebody who's listening to this might be feeling that, oh my God, there's a lot of information to digest.
Right.
There's a lot to process. But I think, everything that you shared made sense. And it's not something that you just shared from the ancient text and stuff like that. Now science, like you said, has
Absolutely.
started backing it up.
Absolutely.
Which is really, really powerful. So is there anything that we haven't discussed in this topic that you'd like to leave our audience with?
A lot of things.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But, I think the time is now in the world where you should not be just, it's like, okay, science is playing a good role because it is now demystifying a lot of spiritual things, right? But we should not be just dependent on science. that, okay, once the research is proven, then I'll do something. It's time for us to become a scientist. I would do, I will see, and then I'll believe. But if I just believe or do not believe without doing, that's an issue. So I think a lot of people, we are in the greatest time in human history. Never has been the case that we have such this amount of privilege, a mobile device on which we have everything. Still, we have more misery and more fear. I think people should spend time to go deeper to understand these concepts, manifestation, subconscious, because it becomes so easier if you put the mental effort as well, because this is a mental effort, right?
Yeah.
If you put the mental effort as well, it becomes so easier for you to achieve the results. There's an amazing movie on Prime, Amazon Prime, called as King Richard. And it's on the life of Serena and Venus Williams, right? And Will Smith has played the role of the father. Amazing movie to watch. How King Richard, Will Smith, he literally planned every part of their daughter's life, his daughter's life. When they will win the Wimbledon, when they will be the champion, when they'll have this gold medal, everything was planned for them. And everything happened exactly the same way. So I think take up this the work of going deeper about this part, because once you have the knowledge, the belief, and belief comes from knowledge as well. I know the science, I have more belief about it because it's scientific now, right? Spend time to investigate deeper, go deeper, no blind beliefs, because this is a spiritual science, right? Which is greater than what we call as physical science, right? Go deeper, learn, master this, because if you can do that part, it may take 6 months, 1 year for you, but this will give you the hope and the possibility of living a great life, because we all have that seeding within us. And most of the people, they never open the seed, they never sow the seed. They live and they die one day. And maybe to close, there's a beautiful tradition. There's a saying from Mexican tradition, which is, we do not die one death, we die 3 deaths. What's the first death? When you become aware that you'll die one day. First death. Second death, when you actually die. The day you actually die, second death happened. What's the third death? And this is amazing. They say, when for the last time somebody in this world will utter your name, that's your last death. After that, nobody will ever know that somebody like you ever existed on this planet. First 2 death, not under our control. Third is under our control, which is what you do with your life, what you create out of your life. And it's not for selfish reason, but can I do something which can impact millions of people? Like your work right now is impacting millions of people. You do not know possibly that maybe your podcast, a girl from a village will have the dream, like the lady from our country who has won the gold medals. What was her name? I think she won the gold in Commonwealth, right? Or this fellow Avinash Sable, who became the steeplechase silver medalist, right? Somebody listening right now would do the work. So I think do something which will give you the possibility of becoming a great soul, which, by the way, is what you are, also impacting millions of people. That's what life is. So that's possibly the parting message.
This has been great conversation, Avinash. I knew that this was going to be great conversation, and just people who are listening to this conversation, I was listing the topics that I want to cover in this podcast, and manifestation was one of the topics, and I said that, hey, you know what, I know Avinash, and he's going to be the person whom I'm going to bring in this podcast,
right?
And I'll tell you what
you manifested.
I manifested it, and it so happens that Avinash is coming to Delhi,
Absolutely.
and here we are.
Absolutely.
So coincidence, you may call it, or
co-creation,
as you
should I tell you something, right?
Yeah.
So social media brand has to be built today, right? Without which, though you're doing good work, it has to be promoted, right? So I was telling my wife, she's also an entrepreneur, that listen, putting YouTube videos consistently, and writing articles, Instagram reels, that's how you'll build the brand, right? And that's a better strategy than to just pay money to Facebook for online marketing, right? And I say, but this will take years of time to build if you just keep on putting organic content, right? So I said, what if I just appear on shows of people who have good following? How that will be for me? And this was, guess what? This was exactly a week before when we spoke for the first time on the message. And next week, here comes your message.
Yeah.
Right? That you're coming to Delhi. And I told her, listen, we spoke about this last week,
Yeah.
that let's follow the shortcut.
Yeah.
And I put the intention, universe, help me connect with amazing people
Hmm.
who are doing amazing work, through which I can also spread the work, the knowledge, the core message, so people can change their life. And here comes the message. So, co-creation.
Co-creation. This
You,
is amazing.
you imagine I, and here is a meeting point.
Here's
You
the
know?
meeting point. This is amazing, Avinash. Thank you so much for sharing all the
My pleasure.
knowledge and wisdom and insight that you have gained over the period of time. And I have personally learned a lot, and I've asked the questions that I needed answers
Absolutely.
for, which I'm gonna implement in my own life and journey. But keep on doing the amazing work that you are doing in spreading knowledge and helping people achieve their dreams by helping them uplift their energy.
Yes.
And be in sync with the bigger energy field
Energy
that
field,
we are
absolutely.
all part of.
Yeah.
Thank you so much once again. It's been
Thank
such
you.
a great conversation.
Same here, pleasure. And I hope, wishing all those people who are watching this that, I hope to hear your stories on your comments when they go back and do something and bring, because I get those messages as well. So wishing all the best, everybody. And really, it's the greatest time in the human history. We can achieve so much things, right? But it's just that we need to master the in within first and then the outside, right? So thank you so much, Vijay, for calling me. Pleasure.
Awesome.